Welcome to Darkness in the Night channel. Tonight, I invite you to listen to the story, The Shadow Beneath the Banyan Tree, a tale that begins in a ground-floor apartment, where the wind whispers through the window frame, and dry banyan leaves drift down night after night. Late autumn, the wind swept through the damp corridor of the old apartment block. The hinges creaked as Lynn pushed open the heavy wooden door and stepped inside her new home. The small room, with its yellow-stained walls and a mix of mold and old paint, breathed like a place that had lived for decades. She set the box down and sighed. "Not bad," Lynn murmured to herself. "At least it's close to the school, convenient enough." Dim light from the window cast the shadow of the banyan tree outside onto the wall. The trembling leaves formed shapes like waving hands. Lynn sat down, wiping sweat from her forehead. From the hallway came an elderly voice. "You just moved in, dear?" "Yes, I did, this morning." "Ah, welcome. I sell lottery tickets. I pass by every day. Call me if you need anything." At the doorway stood a small, frail woman with thin gray hair and a handful of tickets. Her face was kind, but her deep eyes held something unspeakable. "Thank you, ma'am. May I ask your name?" "I'm Hong. Folks around here call me Old Hong, the lottery lady." She smiled gently, then turned away, her slippers dragging softly along the cement floor. Lynn watched her go, a strange sense of familiarity stirring inside, as if they had met before. That first night in her new place, Lynn sat reading her lesson plans. The yellow lamp glowed over the pages. Outside, the wind carried the smell of wet earth and rustling leaves. From the back courtyard came a faint sound, like slippers scraping the ground. Slow and uneven, Lynn lifted her head. She listened carefully, only the wind now, and the creak of banyan branches brushing the iron gate. She chuckled softly, reassuring herself. Must be the wind. Old buildings always make noises. She closed the window, drew the curtains, and went to bed. The next morning, sunlight poured through clear skies. Lynn stepped out to buy breakfast. In the hallway corner, Old Hong was chatting with some neighbors. "You teach at the school down the street?" Hong asked. "Yes, ma'am. I started just a few months ago." "Teach literature, huh? I used to love writing too, but back in my day, girls didn't get to study much." Lynn smiled, feeling warmth toward her. "You've lived here long?" "Oh, a long time. Since the old garment factory days. You know that abandoned lot behind the banyan tree? That used to be the workshop." She nodded toward the backyard, where the huge banyan spread its shade over tall, unkempt grass. Lynn followed her gaze and felt a chill crawl up her spine. "It's deserted now?" "Yes, been empty for ages. People say it's not clean there." "Not clean? What do you mean?" "Ah, never mind. You're new here. Just light some incense for your ancestors, you'll be fine." Hong smiled again and shuffled off, leaving Lynn standing alone in the sunlit courtyard. That afternoon, the sky darkened suddenly. Thunder cracked. While Lynn was teaching, her phone buzzed. A message from the department head. Old Hong, the lottery lady, collapsed at the building gate. Stroke. She didn't make it. Lynn froze. Her hands trembled as she stared out the rain-streaked window. The courtyard outside blurred white with falling rain. A shiver ran down her spine. That evening, the alley in front of the apartment still smelled faintly of incense. A small canopy had been set up where people placed offerings for Hong. Lynn stopped. "Poor lady, she was just talking to me this morning." She lit 3 sticks of incense, bowed quietly, then returned to her apartment. The echo of dragging slippers and Hong's husky voice lingered in her head. "That place, it's not clean." That night, Lynn couldn't sleep. The wind howled through the cracks in the door. The curtain swayed gently. Then, tap, tap, a faint knocking sound came from the yard. Lynn sat up, heart pounding. She walked to the window and peeked through the curtain. Outside, under the thick banyan canopy, stood a figure. In the dim yellow light, a tattered raincoat clung to its soaked body, long hair hanging down to cover half its face. The figure didn't move, it just stood there, Lynn stepped back, breath quick and shallow. She blinked, and the figure was gone. She slammed the curtain shut, clutching her chest. No way, I must have imagined it. But in the dark, that dragging sound returned, slow, steady, echoing across the courtyard like the footsteps of someone who had long since left this world. That night, Lynn barely slept. She lay still, heart pounding, ears straining to catch every sound. Outside, the wind howled again. The banyan leaves rustled, each whisper sounding like a faint voice. "It's cold here." Lynn's eyes flew open. She sat up, scanning the dark room. The whisper was gone. Only the steady patter of rain on the tin roof remained. She clutched her blanket tightly, trembling. No way, must have been a dream. She got up and switched on the light. The dim glow spilled across the peeling wall. Her shadow stretched long and shaky. The window was shut tight, but beneath the frame, a dark, damp patch spread slowly, as if someone had been standing there for a long time. The next morning, Lynn dragged herself to the market. She ran into Tam, her upstairs neighbor who sold vegetables. "You look exhausted. Not used to the new place yet?" "Maybe. At night I keep hearing something outside the window. It's unsettling." Ground floor rooms get rats sometimes. And that back courtyard's creepy, no one goes there." Tam lowered her voice. "But the night Mrs. Hong died, I noticed something strange. 2 days before, she said someone kept calling her name out in the yard. Every night, footsteps circling the banyan tree." Lynn's face went pale. "Really?" "Yeah, but she was frail. Maybe just dreaming. Still, light some incense for her. She liked you. She won't bother you." Lynn nodded, uneasy. That evening she bought a small pack of incense and set up a temporary altar in the corner. The smoky scent mixed with the glow of the yellow lamp, thick and heavy. "Mrs. Hong, if your soul's not at peace, please don't blame me. I just wish you serenity." The smoke swirled into thin rings, lingered, then faded. Watching it, Lynn felt a chill run down her spine. The second night, the sound returned, the soft SHFF of slippers. Slow and deliberate, sliding over the cement floor. Lynn held her breath, pressing herself against the door. Through the crack beneath it, a faint light spilled in from the hallway. A shadow drifted past, neither fast nor slow, just gliding silently. It stopped, right outside her door. Then came a hoarse voice, distant yet close. "Miss Lynn." Her chest tightened. That voice, she knew it. It was Mrs. Hong's. Who's there?" No answer. Only the rain hammering the roof like 1,000 ghostly fingers. Lynn mustered her courage and opened the door a sliver. The hallway was empty, but on the cement floor were long wet footprints. Small and faint, leading toward the back courtyard. The next morning, she called Nam, her boyfriend living out of town. "Nam, something's wrong. I can't sleep. I keep hearing someone calling my name." "You're overthinking it. Must be stress. I'll visit this weekend." "Nam, I saw someone under that banyan tree. Every night they stand there." "Which tree?" "The big one behind the building, near the old yard." "I remember it. Nothing strange there in daylight, just overgrown grass. But at night it's different. I'm scared." Nam chuckled softly. "Then close the window. Sleep early. I'll come this weekend, okay?" Lynn hung up, but the fear didn't leave. That afternoon, clouds rolled in thick and gray. She tried to read, but her mind wandered. The laughter of children outside faded until the courtyard was silent. When she looked up, the room was dim. The shadow of the banyan stretched across the wall. A dry banyan leaf fluttered through the window, twirling before landing on her desk. Lynn picked it up. Its surface was dark and damp, with a faint print that looked eerily like a human fingertip. She jerked her hand back, heart racing. From outside came the soft drag of slippers again, circling the house this time. "Who's there?" No reply, only the damp, moldy scent of rain-soaked air drifting in. Holding her breath, she crept to the window. Beneath the weak yellow streetlight, Something moved among the banyan roots, a slender white shape. Head bowed, facing her. Lynn trembled. The figure tilted slightly, and a raspy whisper reached her ears. "Miss Lynn, I didn't get to say?" she screamed. "God, Mrs. Hong." The white shadow inclined its head, then slowly dissolved into the dark. Lynn flicked on every light, clutching her chest, gasping. Tears filled her eyes. "Mrs. Hong, what are you trying to tell me?" Outside, the wind rose again, stirring the fallen leaves. Amid the rustling came a clearer voice than ever before. "The letter, in the old factory, find it." Her knees buckled. The words echoed inside her skull like a haunting refrain. The next morning, Lynn went to see Mr. Cao, the old caretaker who kept the key to the abandoned garment factory. "Uncle Cao, may I ask, does anyone ever go into the old factory behind the banyan tree?" "That place? Been locked for years. There was a fire, killed a few people. Snakes and rats now. Don't go there, girl." "Was anyone wrongly accused?" Maybe. Mrs. Hong once said a seamstress was blamed for the fire. Swore she was innocent, but who would believe her? Why are you asking?" "Oh, nothing. Just something I heard." The old man stared for a moment, then sighed. "That place has restless spirits. Don't go digging into it. Some souls never settled. Best to leave them be." Lynn nodded politely, but her thoughts tangled deeper. That night, the rain returned. Thunder rumbled. Lightning flashed through the window. Lynn was half asleep when she heard the squeal of the iron gate outside. Kriak. Her heart pounded. Another flash of lightning lit the courtyard. A figure stood by the wall, staring toward her window. Wet hair clung to its face. The old raincoat plastered to its body. Water dripping from the sleeves. Lynn screamed, covering her head. The figure didn't move. Then, through the roar of rain, that hoarse voice spoke again. "In the factory, there's a letter, help me." Lynn shrieked, flicked on the lights. But the yard was empty. Only puddles remained, with smeared footprints leading from the gate to her door. The morning sky was gray and heavy. Wind howled through the banyan trees behind the apartment block. Lynn sat in her room, dark circles under her eyes after many sleepless nights. She could still hear Mrs. Hong's faint voice whispering through the wind. "In the factory, there's a letter, find it." Nam arrived early. He carried a bag of pastries and a carton of milk, setting them on the table with a small smile. "Look at you. Just a few days, and you've lost weight. I can't eat. I keep dreaming about Mrs. Hong." "You're overthinking again. How about I take you to see that old factory? Maybe it'll stop haunting you." Lynn looked up, her voice small. "You'd really go?" "Why not? It's broad daylight. No ghost would dare show its face." She hesitated, then nodded. "All right, let's go. I need to see it for myself." The courtyard behind the apartment was eerily quiet. Weeds grew tall, brushing their knees as the wind swept through. The old banyan trees cast long shadows, their dry leaves crunching softly underfoot. The rusted iron gate of the factory hung half open. The faded sign, "Thank LOI Garment Factory," missing half its paint. Nam pushed the gate. It creaked open with a long, haunting screech. Inside, the air was thick with dampness and the faint, burnt smell of old fabric. Weak sunlight filtered through holes in the tin roof, scattering uneven beams across the dusty floor. Old sewing machines lay toppled, covered in cobwebs. Black scorch marks still scarred the wall, the site of the old fire. Lynn swallowed hard. "It's so cold in here. All metal and tin. The wind just passes right through," Nam said, sweeping his flashlight around. The beam caught on a white cloth hanging from a steel frame. The wind blew, puffing it outward like someone was standing behind it. Lynn gripped Nam's hand. "Nam, is someone there?" "It's just a sheet." He tugged it down, shaking off the dust, but as it fell, an old photograph slipped from the frame and clattered to the floor. Nam bent to pick it up. It showed a group of female workers standing before the factory gate, wearing matching blue uniforms, smiling. but with tired eyes. In the corner stood a familiar face, Mrs. Hong, decades younger. Lin's hands trembled as she held the photo. That's her. That's Mrs. Hong. On the back, in fading handwriting, were the words, "Knock is innocent. One day, the truth will come to light." Lin's breath caught. Knock? Who's that? Maybe the worker they said caused the fire, the one old Mr. Sao mentioned. Nam replied quietly. The air grew heavier. The wind moaned through the holes in the roof, echoing like distant cries. Mrs. Hong said to find a letter. Lin whispered, "There must be more." They followed a row of broken sewing tables to a small back room. The door was sealed with a rusted padlock. Nam pried it open with an iron rod. Dust billowed out as the door creaked ajar. Inside was a broken table, a few torn cardboard boxes, and an old metal cabinet. Nam opened it. Inside were stacks of charred documents. Lin carefully flipped through the brittle papers until she found a yellow envelope, scribbled in shaky handwriting. To whoever finds this. Her eyes widened. Nam, this is it. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside was a letter, yellowed with age, the ink smudged but still legible. She read aloud, voice quivering. My name is Hong, worker of Team 3. The fire in 1998 was not caused by knock. She was on the night shift. The one who turned on the breaker was Supervisor 2. He bypassed the fuse to save power, which caused the short circuit. But the factory covered it up to protect its reputation. I knew, but I was too afraid to speak. Now I'm sick and dying, and I can't carry this guilt any longer. Whoever reads this, please clear Knock's name. Hong. Lin stood frozen, tears filling her eyes. She carried this guilt all her life. Nam sighed deeply. Most of the people involved are probably gone, but at least, there's proof now. Suddenly, from the corridor outside came the sound of dragging footsteps. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle? They stared at each other. Nam switched off the flashlight. Clutching Lin's hand, the footsteps grew closer, mixed with a raspy breathing sound. Then, a faint voice, hoarse and trembling. Thank you, Lin. Lightning flickered outside. In the doorway stood a faint silhouette, thin, stooped, wearing an old raincoat. Her hair was tangled and wet. Her face blurred, but her eyes were gentle. Lin whispered, trembling. Mrs. Hong? The figure nodded slowly, then turned and walked away, fading into the pale light at the end of the hallway. The sound of her slippers grew softer, until it vanished completely. The air inside the factory grew strangely warm. Lin stood still, heart heavy with fear and sorrow. She's gone. Yeah, she's finally at peace. They stepped out of the factory. The late afternoon sun pierced through the banyan leaves, casting golden light across the cracked cement floor. There, the wind caught a charred scrap of paper, spinning it into the air, faint words still visible. The truth cannot be buried. Lin watched it drift away, her chest tightening. She knew this was only the beginning, because after the letter was found, the strange happenings in her ground floor apartment had only just begun. Winter had just begun. The banyan tree behind the old apartment block had started shedding its leaves, leaving bare branches reaching into the gray sky. For days, a fine drizzle had soaked the courtyard, forming dark puddles beneath the tree. Lin returned home from school, her body heavy with exhaustion. Ever since the incident at the garment factory, she hadn't had a single night of peaceful sleep. But at least, Mrs. Hong's voice had stopped echoing in her ears. She set her bag on the table and glanced toward the window. Outside, the empty courtyard was silent except for the rustling of leaves in the wind. Finally, it's quiet, she whispered. She brewed a cup of hot tea and sat listening to the soft tapping of rain on the roof. The stillness was almost comforting until, from afar, came the faint sound of a child crying. Lin froze. The sobs were weak, muffled, like a child quietly weeping. Who's out there? No reply. The crying stopped, leaving only the sound of wind whistling through the banyan trees. Lynn set her cup down with trembling hands. Heart pounding. No, it can't be. Probably just one of the neighbor's kids. But when she stepped outside and looked around, the courtyard was empty. The hallway lights flickered on and off. And across the wet ground stretched a trail of water, from the base of the banyan tree all the way to her door. The next morning, Lynn told her neighbor, Mrs. Tam. Last night I heard a child crying outside. It sounded like it was right beneath my window. Maybe it was old Mr. Bay's kid upstairs. He's been coughing all night lately. No, I'm sure it wasn't him. The crying, it sounded like begging. It gave me chills. Mrs. Tam glanced around uneasily, then lowered her voice. Lynn, did you know? Back when that factory burned down, there was another tragedy, a missing child. A child? Yes, Mrs. Hong told me once. There was a woman named Nok, the one accused of starting the fire. She had a baby, just a few months old, the night of the fire. She brought the baby with her on the night shift. The next morning, no one ever found the child. Lynn's face went pale. They didn't find the body? No, only some burnt fabric, still wrapped like a baby's blanket. She swallowed hard, her eyes drifting toward the courtyard. The banyan stood motionless, dead leaves swirling around its roots. That crying last night, could it be? That evening, fear kept Lynn from turning off the lights. She called Nam. Nam, I heard it again. Again? I thought this was over. A baby crying, right under the tree. You're just tense. Want me to come over? Please, I don't want to be alone. Half an hour later, Nam arrived, his clothes damp from the drizzle. Where did you hear it? Right under that banyan. They both looked out at the courtyard. Only wet leaves glistened under the flickering lights. Nam chuckled softly. See? Nothing there. You're just hearing things. But there was a trail of water, like someone crawled right up to my door. Nam took her hand. All right, I'll stay here tonight, okay? Lynn nodded, feeling a bit of relief. They laid out a mat on the floor. Outside, the wind howled through the banyan branches, moaning like a distant cry. Near midnight, Lynn half awoke to the sound of water dripping, plop, plop. Just outside her window, Nam was still asleep beside her. She listened closely. The rhythm of the drops was uneven, not steady like rain, but slow, deliberate, like footsteps in a puddle. She gently pulled back the curtain. Beneath the banyan tree, a small figure sat hunched over. The dim yellow street light revealed a pale face, round eyes glistening black. A child. Lynn froze. The child lifted its head, lips quivering. Mommy, cold? Lynn's breath caught. Oh my God? Before she could scream, the figure vanished, leaving only a wet shadow on the ground. Nam jolted awake. What is it? There was a child under the tree. You must have been dreaming. He rushed out to check. The courtyard was empty, except for a few soaked leaves and a small puddle under the tree. Lynn held her head, trembling. It said it was cold. All right, tomorrow I'll call someone to trim that banyan down. It's too creepy. She shook her head sharply. No, don't touch it. If you do, I think Mrs. Hong will be angry. Nam sighed and pulled her into his arms without saying a word. The next morning, after Nam left, Lynn noticed something strange. Right beneath her window, on the cement, was a faint muddy print, a small hand with only 4 fingers. She stood frozen, staring. In her mind, that fragile voice whispered again. Mommy, cold? Tears welled in her eyes. A strange ache of sorrow mixed with dread tightened in her chest. That child, could it be Ms. Nok's baby, the one who died in the fire? Clenching her hands, she whispered softly. If so, I'll find a way to help you both find peace. But she didn't know, from that moment on, the shadow of the child beneath the banyan tree would begin to follow her into every dream. For days, Lynn hadn't slept soundly. Even after sealing her windows tight, she could still hear faint sounds every night, soft giggles, the laughter of a child, fading into silence. At first, she thought it was mice. But that laughter, no. That was unmistakably human. She came home from school early and bought some fruit to place on the small altar she'd made for Mrs. Hong. Lighting the incense, Lin whispered, "Mrs. Hong, if that child is really Ms. Knox's baby, please show me how to help them. I'm scared, but I feel more sorry than afraid." A sudden gust swept through the courtyard, rustling the banyan leaves like someone was sweeping them. The incense smoke curled into a spiral, then drifted slowly toward the back door. Lin shivered and followed. The old door creaked open, releasing a cold draft against her face. At the end of the dim hallway was the storage room, long abandoned. Ever since someone had died there years ago. She stared at the rusted metal door. The incense smoke swirled in the air, slipping through the narrow crack. Could it be this place? A long creak broke the silence. The door opened by itself. Inside, darkness. Only a faint glow from the corridor lights spilled across the dusty floor. The smell of damp wood and burnt fabric filled the air. Step by step, Lin entered. Dust coated everything. Cobwebs clung to the ceiling. In the corner stood an old wooden chest. She moved closer. On the lid was the clear imprint of a tiny hand, 5 delicate fingers. Lin's breath hitched. "Who's in there?" No answer. But inside her head, she heard a child's whisper, light as a sigh. Mommy, where are you?" She stumbled back, tripping over a wooden crate and falling hard. From the chest, a thin mist began to rise, swirling slowly through the air before fading away. Later that afternoon, Lin went to see Tam. I lit incense, and the smoke led straight to the storage room. When I opened it, I saw a wooden chest. It had a child's handprint, I'm sure of it. My God, Lin, you're brave. No one's gone in there for years. Why not? Because after the fire, they stored Ms. Knox's belongings there. That chest must have been hers. People say it held some half-burned clothes, and a few of her baby's toys. Lin went silent, her eyes distant. Tam, I think that child I saw, the one crying, is her baby. The one who never crossed over. Don't say that, it gives me chills. I'm not afraid anymore, I pity them. Tam sighed. Just be careful, spirits of lost children often cling to the living. Lin nodded, but her heart was set. She believed only by finding where the baby had died could both mother and child finally rest. That night, she opened her window and looked toward the banyan tree. The wind roared through the branches, scattering leaves across the yard. She whispered softly, "Little one, if you need something, tell me. Don't scare me anymore. I want to help you." Silence. Then suddenly, click, click, something rolled across the floor. Lin turned and saw a marble rolling out from under the cabinet. She bent down to pick it up. It was cold, translucent green, with a single letter engraved inside, N. In, for knock? The moment she said it, the window slammed shut with a loud bang. A freezing wind swept through the room. Lin looked up and gasped. On the wall, reflected in the dim light, was the shadow of a woman holding a child. The woman stared at her, eyes dark and endless. Then came a whisper. "Find my letter." Lin screamed and collapsed. When she opened her eyes, the figure was gone. The next morning, she went back to the burned-down garment factory. Only broken walls and vines remained. At the gate, an old man was sweeping. "Sir, did you used to work here?" "Sure did. I was the night guard. Saw that fire with my own eyes." "Do you remember a woman named Knock, the one who died?" "Of course. Sweet girl. Shame, her baby died too. Just a few months old." Lin's voice trembled. "After the fire, did anyone collect her things?" "They did. Sent them back to the old apartment, storage room downstairs." "Was there a letter among her things?" "A letter? Maybe. I remember she was writing something before the fire. But no one knew for who." "You plan to find it?" "Yes." The old man hesitated. "Be careful. No one goes near that room. People say they still hear crying in there." Lin pressed her lips together. If the dead still want to speak, then the living should listen, at least once. The old man looked at her, half frightened, half moved. "You're braver than most. If you go, do it in daylight, never at night, understand?" Lynn nodded in thanks and turned to leave. In her pocket, the green marble rattled softly, clink, clink, like a child's faint laughter. She clenched her hand around it. "All right, little one, I'll find that letter, I promise." That night, a storm rolled in. The wind howled through the banyan tree like a chorus of cries. Lynn sat on her bed, the candle flame flickering. She opened her notebook and began jotting everything she'd witnessed: the cries, the muddy prints, the marble, the whisper, "Find my letter." Then came a gentle knock. 3 taps. Talk, talk, talk? Her heart jumped. "Who's there?" Silence. She crept to the door. It was slightly ajar. The hallway was empty, except for a wet piece of paper stuck to the floor. Lynn picked it up. The ink had smeared, but a few words were still legible. "Wooden chest. Under the banyan?" Her eyes widened. "The letter, it's inside the chest?" Outside, the wind roared louder, ripping through the curtains. From beneath the banyan tree came the sound of a child crying, mingled with thunder. "Mommy, come home?" Lynn fell to her knees, clutching her chest as tears streamed down her face. For an instant, she saw them again, a woman holding a baby, standing in the rain, pointing toward the storage room. Lightning flashed, their silhouettes vanished, leaving only the old banyan tree swaying in the storm. Lynn whispered through trembling lips, "I understand now, I'll find it." The next morning, the sky was shrouded in thick fog. A fine mist drifted endlessly, and cold wind seeped through every crack in the old building. Lynn woke up exhausted. When she looked out the window, the banyan tree was drenched, its leaves scattered all over the ground. Beneath it, she could faintly see a strange dark streak, like the mark of something heavy being dragged across the soil. Under the banyan, the wooden chest, the words from that wet, torn note echoed in her mind again and again. She put on her raincoat, grabbed a flashlight and a small knife, and decided to go to the storage room, even though her heart was pounding with fear. The iron door was the same as before, rusted, moaning with each gust of wind. Lynn reached out and pulled. This time, it wasn't locked. A wave of cold, damp air hit her face. The room smelled of mold and something acrid, the scent of fabric that had once burned. Lynn turned on her flashlight. Cobwebs hung thick across the ceiling, and dust blanketed the floor. The wooden chest still sat in the corner, but unlike before, its lid was slightly ajar, and a thin line of black liquid trickled out from beneath it. Lynn swallowed hard and stepped closer. "Ms. Knock, I just want to help. Please don't frighten me." She knelt down, hands trembling, and slowly lifted the lid. The rusty hinges squealed painfully. Inside was a suffocating stench, burnt fabric mixed with rot, a few charred pieces of cloth, some old toys, a one-eyed doll, a yellowed baby bottle. At the very bottom, wrapped in a damp plastic sleeve, was a sealed letter. On the envelope, written hastily, were the words, "To the one who finds the truth." Lynn's fingers shook as she opened it. The handwriting was jagged but still legible. "My name is Knock. If anyone reads this letter, please tell the world. The fire was no accident. Someone set it on purpose to destroy evidence of theft. I know who did it, Mr. Luke, the factory foreman. He stole workers' pay, forced overtime, and sold defective goods for himself. When I found out and threatened to expose him, he told me he'd make sure I'd rest forever. That night, he brought the oil. I ran with my baby but couldn't escape. I'm not afraid to die, only afraid my child will remain cold forever. Please find him, make him pay. Only then will my baby and I be at peace." Lynn clutched the letter to her chest, her heart pounding. Sweat rolled down her face despite the chill. "Oh my God, I can't believe this." Suddenly, a gust of wind blew out her flashlight. Darkness swallowed the room. In that moment, a faint glow appeared beside the chest, and from the shadows, a woman's figure emerged. Her face was ghostly pale, eyes deep and hollow, long hair dripping down her shoulders as she held a child in her arms. She didn't speak, she only looked at Lin and nodded gently. What do you want me to do?" Lin whispered, her voice shaking. The reply came in a cold, fragile murmur, breaking apart like the wind itself. "Tell them, let the truth be known." Lin burst into tears. "I promise, I'll tell them. I won't let you or your child be forgotten." The figure began to fade, dissolving into a soft white mist. The cold air eased, only Lin remained, sitting on the floor, clutching the letter as her tears mixed with the rain. That night, she showed the letter to Nam. He sat in silence for a long time. "Are you sure this is real? I saw it with my own eyes. The chest, the toys, even the burnt fabric. If this is true, then that man, Mr. Luke, he's the one who caused it all. But, is he even still alive? I don't know. I'll find out." Nam frowned, worry in his eyes. "I'm afraid you're getting too deep into this. It's dangerous. I can't ignore it, Nam. They died unjustly. Ms. Nock and her baby just want peace." He took her hand tightly. "Then I'll go with you." The next morning, they returned to the old factory ruins and met the same elderly guard. Lin handed him the letter. His hands trembled as he read. "I knew it, we all suspected Mr. Luke. But no one had proof. After the fire, he quit and disappeared. Do you know where he went?" Lin asked. "I think, Nam Den, that's all I remember." Nam jotted it down and nodded. "Then we have a lead. I'll take a few days off. And we'll go find him." "Yes," Lin replied firmly. That night, Lin dreamed again. She was standing under the banyan tree, wind swirling around her. The child appeared once more, but this time, he wasn't crying. He smiled, his big dark eyes shining, reaching his hand toward her. Lin knelt down and whispered, "I promised, didn't I? It'll be over soon. Be good, little one." The child nodded softly. Behind him, the figure of the woman appeared again. Ms. Nock, her face gentle, peaceful. They slowly faded into a soft light, leaving only the banyan tree rustling quietly in the wind. Lin woke up, her pillow damp with tears. Outside, pale moonlight spilled across the silent courtyard, calm as if nothing had ever happened. But she knew this wasn't the end. The man who burned the factory still lived, and she had a promise to keep. She whispered into the night, "Wait for me, Ms. Nock. I'll find him. I swear I will." Early morning, fog blanketed everything. Lin packed her backpack carefully, sliding the letter into a sealed plastic bag. Nam started the old car, its headlights cutting weakly through the drizzle. "Are you sure about this?" Nam asked, glancing at her. "I'm sure, whether he's alive or dead. I need to know." The road to Nam Dinh stretched for more than 100 kilometers, winding through desolate fields and quiet, forgotten villages. On both sides, bare kapok trees reached their thin, crooked branches into the mist. Every now and then, a small graveyard appeared along the roadside, gravestones leaning, covered in green moss. The air was sharp with cold, carrying the faint, smoky scent of burning straw. Lin looked out the window, her voice low. "Do you feel it, Nam? It's like the fog's hiding something." "Yeah, and at this pace, we'll need to find a place to stay before dark." They drove until they reached a small town called Luong Zhe. Pulling over, they stopped at a roadside tea stall where an old woman sat shelling melon seeds, her silver hair gleaming faintly under the gray light. Nam approached politely. "Excuse me, Grandma, do you happen to know anyone here named Luke? He used to be a factory foreman in Hanoi." The old woman lifted her eyes, scanning them from head to toe. Her voice was raspy, tired. "Luke? Yes, but that family's gone now." "Gone? What do you mean?" "He's dead. Fire, a few years back, burned down his whole house. End of the village." Lin froze. "Another fire?" Just like the one in Hanoi. Folks said it was karma. Flames rose high that night, burned everything to ash. They said, they heard a child crying in the dark, then silence. Lin and Nam exchanged a horrified look. "Grandma, can you show us where his house was?" "Down at the end of the road. Turn left. There's the biggest banyan tree in the village right by it." "But you two, what for?" "That place, it's cold." Lin swallowed hard, nodding. "Thank you, Grandma. We'll just take a look." The village road was narrow and muddy, twisting through the mist. Night was already falling fast. From afar, they could see the giant banyan tree towering above the roofs, its massive branches covering a small, low wooden house beneath. "Another banyan?" Lin whispered. "Just a coincidence," Nam said softly. But neither of them truly believed that. The wooden gate leaned crookedly, its lock rusted and brittle. Nam pried it open. The latch snapped with a sharp crack, dust rising in the air. Inside, the house was blackened and broken, furniture half burned, walls scorched with soot. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and damp rot. Lin turned on her flashlight, sweeping it across the room. On the wall hung a half-burned photograph, a man standing among factory workers. Below the frame, a charred nameplate still clung on, "Foreman, Luke." Nam picked it up. "It's him. Look." Lin pointed. The burn marks on the wall had formed into the shape of a distorted face, mouth wide open, eyes hollow black. She stumbled backward, heart pounding. "You see that? Just smoke stains, don't panic," Nam muttered, though his hands trembled. They moved deeper inside. In the middle of the floor, the soil was cracked, like something had once been buried there. Nam fetched a small shovel from the car and began to dig. After a few minutes, he uncovered a small rusted tin box. Its lock half melted. He forced it open. Inside were several charred papers, edges blackened, but one still legible. "If anyone finds this, don't believe what they said. I didn't mean to burn it. They made me. I was scared. I saw it. It stood in the corner every night." Nam's skin prickled. He handed the page to Lin. "Read it." Her hands shook. "I saw it. Who does he mean? Maybe Nock's spirit." A gust of icy wind roared through the house, snuffing out the flashlight. The roof creaked as the wind howled, sounding eerily like a human moan. Lin clung to Nam's arm. "Nam, I hear something." "Where?" From the far corner came a soft giggle, the laugh of a child. "Close, too close." Then the sound of tiny wet footsteps slapping on the floor. Nam flicked the light back on. No one, but across the floor, muddy footprints, small, child-sized, led straight toward the back door. "You see that?" Lin whispered. "Yeah, let's follow it." They stepped outside. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the great banyan tree. Beneath it sat a small figure, curled up tight. Lin called out, voice trembling. "Little one." The child turned slowly. Its face was pale as ash, eyes dark and endless, lips quivered. "Mom said, thank you." Then it vanished into the rain. Lin stood frozen, tears spilling down her cheeks. She said, "Thank you, Nam." He wrapped an arm around her. "Then maybe they've finally found peace. But we still need to uncover what really happened to Luke." Lin nodded, wiping her tears. "You're right, there's still something in this house, something that survived the fire." They went back inside. Lightning flashed again, revealing a small piece of scorched wood tucked in the corner. Lin picked it up. Carved into the surface were faint words. "There's another one." She frowned. "Another one? What does that mean?" Nam's face went pale. Maybe Luke wasn't the only one involved. The wind rose again, slamming the windows shut. From somewhere deep in the dark, a child's voice whispered, "Miss, there's more?" Rain poured down in torrents. The banyan tree shuddered violently, its branches groaning like 100 sighs in the night. Lin clutched the letter to her chest, staring up at the drenched leaves. She whispered, trembling, "All right, I promise. I'll see this through." A flash of lightning split the sky, illuminating Lin's pale face, and behind her, against the wall, the faint outline of a tall shadow, standing utterly still, watching them. The next morning, the sky was still heavy and gray. Wind swept in from the fields. Damp and cold. Lin woke early, stepping out onto the porch. Fallen banyan leaves covered the ground, rainwater pooling between them. Nam was crouched by a small fire, cooking instant noodles. "Did you sleep at all last night?" "No, I kept hearing footsteps outside, like someone was walking back and forth." Nam chuckled faintly. "Out here in the countryside, it's just the wind through the tin roof." Lin didn't reply. That phrase, "there's another one," still echoed in her head, whispering like a voice that wouldn't fade. After breakfast, they returned to the tea stall where the old woman was sweeping her yard. She looked up, surprised. "Oh, you two are still here?" "Yes, Grandma," Lin said. "We wanted to ask more about Mr. Luke. Do you remember if he was close to anyone back then?" The old woman thought for a while, then answered softly. "Yes, he was often seen with a man named Ben. Folks called him Ben the carpenter. They used to drink together at night. But after Luke's house burned down, Ben disappeared. No one's seen him since." Nam leaned forward. "Where did Mr. Ben live?" "At the end of the right alley. But that house has been empty for years, doors locked, grass waist high." Lin met Nam's eyes, a spark of resolve flickering within them. "We have to go." The narrow path was lined with mossy walls and overgrown vines. Mr. Ben's house sat hidden behind a curtain of weeds. The wooden door was rotted through. Nam pushed it gently. The hinges groaned as it opened, releasing a suffocating smell of mildew, rust, and old smoke. Inside was pure darkness. On the walls hung half-carved wooden panels, twisted shapes, unfinished faces. In one corner stood a small altar, thick with dust and cobwebs. The incense had long gone cold. Lin whispered, "This altar's strange. No photo, just a black cloth covering it." Nam approached and lifted the cloth carefully. Underneath was a small piece of wood carved with a single name, Nok. Lin froze. Nok, the woman from the fire. Nam frowned. So Ben was worshipping her? She nodded slowly. Maybe they were close, maybe he loved her. They began to search the place. In a drawer, Lin found an old notebook. The pages yellow and brittle. The handwriting trembled across the paper. "Luke told me to stay quiet. They blamed her for everything. I knew the truth, but I was afraid. Every night, I see her outside the factory, her dress burned, her hair tangled, holding the child. I'm scared, but I owe her the truth." Lin's hands went cold. Nam, Ben knew. He knew everything. Nam nodded grimly. Then why did he disappear? Suddenly, a soft click echoed behind them. The door had shut tight. The air grew still. Not a sound, not even the wind. Then came a whisper, faint, breathy, trembling. "I'm here." Lin clutched Nam's arm. "Who's there?" The whisper came again, clearer. "It's me, Ben." They both backed away as a pale mist began to rise, forming the outline of a thin man with hollow eyes and scorched skin. His voice was hoarse, broken. "I couldn't tell. They threatened me. She wasn't guilty. They killed her." Lin's voice cracked. "Who killed her?" The ghost's hand shook, pointing toward the altar. "The one behind it all, the factory owner?" As soon as he said it, his figure dissolved into smoke. A piece of paper fluttered down from the altar. Lin picked it up. The writing was smeared, but still readable. "Everything's in the expense ledger. Find it in the old office." Nam exhaled sharply. So Luke wasn't the mastermind. There's someone higher. Lin's face went pale. The factory owner, that must be the old director. Thunder rumbled outside. The door burst open, wind howling through the house. Dust and ashes swirled in the air. A small photograph fell at their feet. Lin bent to pick it up. In the picture stood Ms. Nok, beside a well-dressed man wearing a gold ring. On the back was written, Factory Management Board 1997. Nam squinted. "That's Mr. Kai, the director back then." "He's still alive," Lin whispered. Her voice trembled. "If he's the one behind all this, then that fire, it wasn't an accident." That night, back at their motel, rain pattered endlessly outside. Lynn sat by the window, watching the drops streak down the glass. Her voice was barely audible. "Ms. Nock, you want me to find Mr. Kai, don't you?" The wind outside suddenly died. Then, from the darkness, came a whisper, soft, familiar. "Yes, find him?" Lynn gasped, turning quickly, no one there. But on the fogged window pane, words appeared as if traced by a finger. "Don't trust the one near you." Her face went white. "Near me? Who?" Just then, Nam stepped out from the bathroom, towel in hand, smiling faintly. "You say something?" "No, nothing." She lowered her eyes, hiding her fear, but in her head, a child's laughter echoed faintly, fading into the sound of rain. The night dragged on. Lynn dreamed again. She was standing in the burning factory. Flames all around. Ms. Nock appeared, clutching her baby, and turned to her, speaking through the roar of fire. "They killed me, and there's still one more close to you?" Lynn jolted awake, drenched in sweat. Nam was asleep beside her, but in the dim yellow light, she saw his hand, gripping tightly the letter of accusation. Her pulse raced. A thought flashed through her mind, chilling, unbearable. Could it be, the one close to me, is him? The next afternoon, the sun blazed harshly. Lynn sat on the edge of the motel bed, watching Nam pack his bag. "Where are you going?" "Out to talk to some old contacts. I heard someone who used to work as Kai's secretary still lives nearby. You stay and rest, okay? Let me come with you." "No, I'll be quick." His tone was firm, colder than usual. Lynn hesitated. "Nam, are you hiding something from me?" "What are you talking about?" "Just rest. I'll be back before dark." He grabbed his bag and left without looking back. Lynn sat frozen, a strange unease creeping up her spine. Outside, the wind was cold despite the heat. She quietly pulled out her phone and turned on the voice recorder, an old habit from when she used to record lectures. She placed it by the bed, just in case. By late afternoon, the sky dimmed and drizzle began to fall. Lynn sat by the window, listening to the distant traffic and the dying hum of cicadas. She glanced at Nam's bag, left half open on the table. Curiosity tugged at her. In the side pocket, she found an old envelope. On the front, written in slanted handwriting, "Compensation Contract 1997. She unfolded it. The paper was yellowed with age. Two signatures stood out clearly: Kai, factory director, and Nam, technical safety representative. Lynn's hands went cold. "Nam? How?" She looked closer. Beneath the signatures, a note read, "Nguyen Min Nam, in charge of boiler inspection. Certified as safe before factory operation." The paper slipped from her trembling hands. No, it can't be. He just graduated that year." Suddenly, the door creaked open. Lynn spun around. Nam stood there, drenched from the rain, his eyes unreadable. "What are you doing?" "I was cleaning up." "Cleaning up, or snooping?" His voice was low, strange. Lynn took a step back. "Nam, what are you hiding from me?" "Why are you asking that?" He stepped closer. She backed up until her shoulders hit the wall. "What's this?" She held up the paper, her voice shaking. "Where did you get that?" "From your bag. Tell me, why is your name on a document from the fire?" He was silent for a long moment. The curtain fluttered as wind howled through the gap. Finally, he spoke slowly. "I did intern at that factory. Only for a few months. When the fire happened, I'd already left. They made me sign some documents to cover up for the director." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I was afraid you'd think I was part of it." Tears welled in her eyes. "And now I don't know what to think." The air turned still. Outside, thunder rumbled faintly. Nam stepped out onto the balcony, breathing heavily. "Please, trust me, Lynn. I'll take you to Kai. We'll end this." She sank onto the bed, clutching her head. "I'm afraid Ms. Nock won't forgive you." "Nam." He turned, his eyes narrowing. "What did you just say?" "I heard her last night. She said, 'Don't trust the one near you.'" You're accusing me now? He laughed, a dry, unsettling sound. You're just like old Mrs. Hong. Hear a bit of wind and think it's a ghost. Don't mock me, Nam, I'm serious. He stepped closer, gripping her shoulders. Listen, Lin, the dead should stay dead. Stop digging. But if you're lying. I said stop. His shout made her flinch. His eyes were wild, unrecognizable. Lin stumbled back. Nam exhaled sharply, then muttered, Sorry, I'm just tired. He turned and walked out, slamming the door behind him. Lin sat there for a long time, tears streaking her face. That night, she heard faint clicking sounds outside the door. Clack, clack, like someone turning a key. She froze. No one answered when she whispered, Nam, is that you? The door creaked open just slightly. A gust of cold air swept in. The hallway light flickered. Through the dim light, she saw a shadow, a figure standing perfectly still, staring into her room. Who's there? She whispered. The figure tilted its head slowly, at an impossible angle, the neck bent as if broken. Lin gasped and shone her flashlight toward it. No one. Only the faint sound of small, wet footsteps, fading down the corridor. At dawn, Lin packed her things and left. She texted Nam. I'm heading back to Hanoi. We'll talk later if you want. No reply. On the bus, she sat silently, the fields sliding past in a blur of mist. She replayed the recording from the night before. First came the sound of rain, then Nam's voice. I said stop. Silence. 10 seconds later, another voice, faint, distant, whispering. Don't trust him. It wasn't Nam's voice. It wasn't hers either. It was cold, hollow, like it came from the banyan tree outside the window. Lin clutched her phone tightly. Ms. Knock, was that you? The bus rattled on. Wind hissed through the window cracks, rustling the curtains. Then, softly, a voice brushed against her ear. Go back to the factory, find the ledger. Lin turned to the window. Outside, rows of banyan trees stretched endlessly along the road, their red leaves tumbling down like drops of blood. The first summer rain poured over Hanoi, washing the city in a gray veil of memory and sorrow. Lin sat huddled on the bus, eyes lost in the watery blur of the window. The city outside looked like a faint shadow of itself, hiding the secrets of a past no one dared to name. She had just returned from the countryside after nearly a week away. But peace still eluded her. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Mrs. Hong's face, lips trembling soundlessly, eyes heavy with untold stories. Outside, car horns tangled with the steady drumming of rain on the tin roof. Lin clutched her canvas bag tightly. Inside were the old papers she'd found in Mrs. Hong's house, yellow documents, brittle with age, and one name that appeared over and over again. Fu Tin Garment Factory 1997. She whispered softly to herself. Fu Tin Factory, what really happened there? Mrs. Hong? No answer. Only the hiss of the bus tires slicing through rainwater. Eerie and relentless. When the bus stopped in front of her old apartment block, Lin opened her umbrella and stepped into the drizzle. The familiar banyan trees behind the building rustled in the wind, their wet leaves falling like tired sighs onto the damp concrete. The shadows of the branches stretched across the courtyard, dark and long, like reaching hands. She unlocked the door to her apartment. The stale smell of damp walls and old paint greeted her. The lights flickered on, casting a pale yellow glow over the puddles that had formed by the window sill. Lin set her bag down on the table. Beside it sat an old photograph of Mrs. Hong, smiling softly. But tonight, that smile seemed distant, her eyes watchful. Lin murmured, Mrs. Hong, if there's something you couldn't say before you left, please tell me now. I promise I'll help you. A cold gust slipped through the cracked window. The curtain swayed. In the far corner, something, or someone, seemed to move. Just for a second, Lin spun around, heart hammering, but there was nothing, only the shadow of the banyan tree trembling against the wall. Rain tapped steadily on the window pane. Then, faintly, came the sound of shuffling footsteps, slow, dragging, echoing down the hallway outside. Lynn froze, breath shallow. The steps stopped right in front of her door. Silence. She whispered, voice shaking. "Who's there? Nam? Is that you?" Silence again, then a whisper, low, icy, seeped through the crack of the door. "Lynn, find Kai." Lynn's blood ran cold. "Who's there? Mrs. Hong, is that you?" No response, only the sound of wind breathing through the keyhole, long and mournful. She sank into the chair, trembling. That name, Kai, echoed in her mind like a warning bell. She remembered seeing it written in red ink inside the old file. Workshop supervisor report, Kai, electrical division. Grabbing her phone, she searched online. A few fragmented records appeared. The Food Tin Garment Factory had been dissolved in 2000. The land now used as a parking lot. But one name stood out, Tran Ban Kai, former maintenance engineer, now living in company NHUE ward. Lynn nodded slowly. "All right, tomorrow, I'll find him." Outside the window, rain trickled down the glass in long streaks. Like tears, a flash of lightning illuminated the courtyard. For a brief second, Lynn saw a figure standing beneath the banyan tree, unmoving. The light vanished. The figure was gone. Her breath caught. She stumbled backward, knocking the bag off the table. The papers scattered across the floor. Among them, a small slip of paper slid out, scrawled in trembling handwriting. "If anything happens, find Kai in the old housing block." Then, faint as wind, a voice whispered, "Lynn, don't let them bury the truth." She clutched her head, tears spilling down her face. Her sobs mingled with the sound of the rain, and beneath it, she swore she could hear someone else crying, too. Outside, the banyan tree shed its leaves, covering the narrow path below. The smell of wet earth and rotting foliage filled the night, heavy and haunting. The next morning, Lynn followed the address on the note to the old housing block in company NHUE. The buildings were crumbling, their walls streaked with moss, the roofs pitted with holes. A neighbor told her the man she sought, Mr. Kai, was very old now. Rarely went out, living alone in a ground floor apartment at the end of the corridor. Lynn knocked gently. "Excuse me, are you Mr. Kai? You used to work at the Food Tin Factory, right?" Silence. Then came the slow sound of shuffling slippers. The door creaked open, revealing a frail man, his face gaunt, hair white, eyes red and sleepless. "Who are you?" "My name's Lynn. I'm a teacher. I used to know Mrs. Hong. She sold lottery tickets near my place. She's passed away now. But I found papers with your name on them." The old man froze. His eyes flickered with something, recognition, or guilt. "Hong, she's gone?" "Yes, about a month ago. Before she died, I think there was something she wanted to tell me. She mentioned you." Mr. Kai stared out at the drizzle outside. His voice dropped to a whisper. "So, it's time, then." He stepped aside, gesturing her in. The room smelled of damp walls and old medicine. On the table stood a black and white photo of factory workers, smiling. Shoulder to shoulder, Lynn recognized Mrs. Hong, young and bright. Next to her stood another woman, gentle eyes, kind face. Beneath the photo, the label read, "Knock, head of cutting department." Lynn pointed softly. "Was this Ms. Knock?" Mr. Kai nodded with a faint, sorrowful smile. "Yes, the one who died that night. And Mrs. Hong, she was the only one who truly knew what happened." The air thickened. The sound of rain against the metal roof became a slow, steady rhythm. Lynn's voice trembled. "What really happened, sir?" Mr. Kai looked her straight in the eyes, his tone dark and final. "It wasn't an accident, teacher. It was murder." In the dim, flickering light of an old yellow bulb, the room smelled of damp walls and stale smoke. Outside, rain drummed unevenly on the rusted tin roof. Mr. Kai lit a cigarette. His trembling hand cast a long shadow on the peeling wall. Smoke curled upward, drifting lazily through the weak light. Lynn sat across from him, heart pounding. She knew whatever he was about to say could change everything. Mr. Kai spoke softly. That year, there was an accident at Food Tin Garment Factory. They said a press machine short-circuited and exploded, killed Ms. Nok instantly. But I know that's not what really happened. Lynn's voice quivered. Not an accident? No, someone made sure she would never talk. The air thickened, heavy like concrete. Lynn shrank back. Made sure she wouldn't talk? What do you mean? He stubbed out his cigarette and stared out into the rain. Nok discovered that the factory management had been stealing materials and forging payroll records. Mrs. Hong worked there too. She knew but was too scared to speak. Nok planned to file a report and kept the proof in a ledger. That night, I was on the night shift. She came back to the workshop to retrieve the documents. By morning, they found her crushed under the press machine. Her head was gone. His voice cracked. Lynn swallowed hard. And then? I saw someone leave the factory that night, but they threatened me, said if I spoke up, I'd lose my job, maybe my life. So I stayed silent for nearly 30 years. He sighed, eyes glassy with regret. Mrs. Hong was never the same. She said Nok's spirit hadn't left. Every night she heard the sewing machines running, heard her name being called. She wanted to tell the truth, but before she could, she had a stroke and died. Lynn sat frozen, her thoughts in chaos. Images, Mrs. Hong, the banyan tree, the dreams, the whispering voice, all began to connect like shattered pieces fitting into place. Her voice trembled. Do you know who killed her? Mr. Kai looked at her for a long moment. I can't be sure, but there was someone who handled the cover-up. He transferred jobs afterward, changed his name. I heard he became a construction engineer. The name was Nam, I think. Lynn's whole body went numb. Her ears rang. Her heart stopped for a beat. Nam, which Nam? I only remember they called him Nam. Young, smooth talker, quick on his feet. He was the last person to sign the maintenance report, the day before Nok died. Lynn stepped back, voice breaking. No, that's impossible. Nam is my boyfriend. Silence filled the room like a suffocating fog. Mr. Kai's eyes softened with pity. I can't be certain, but if you want the truth, go back to the old factory grounds. The ledger, I think Mrs. Hong hid it there. In Nok's old quarters. A chill crawled up Lynn's spine. That room, does it still exist? Part of the dorm was demolished, but the old wing remains. It's now used as a scrap warehouse. Go if you must, but don't go alone. Lynn nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. She bowed deeply, thanked him, and stepped out. The rain had eased, but the air was sharp with cold. Streetlights flickered dimly through the fog. As she walked through the drizzle, her mind repeated one name, Nam, over and over, like a hammer striking metal. That night, Lynn couldn't sleep. She sat at her desk, staring at Mrs. Hong's photo. Her eyes burned. Grandma Hong, am I on the right path? A gust of wind blew through the window, tilting the candle flame. The banyan leaves outside rustled restlessly. From the shadows came a faint, icy whisper. Yes, but be careful, he knows already. Lynn's heart jolted. She turned sharply toward the window and saw a silhouette outside. Tall, thin, shoulders slightly stooped. Familiar. Nam, is that you? No reply. Then, 3 soft knocks on the glass. Tap, tap, tap. Lynn backed away, pulse racing. The door creaked open. Nam stepped in, his face pale, clothes drenched. You're still awake? His tone was calm, but his eyes were cold, disturbingly cold. Lynn swallowed hard. How did you know I was here? I came to see you. I heard you met Mr. Kai. The air thickened with tension. Lynn's hands trembled. Yes, he told me what happened at the factory. Nam smirked faintly, though it didn't reach his eyes. Old stories, why dig them up? You'll only hurt yourself. Someone died. Nam, someone innocent. Do you know what really happened? He was silent. The bulb above flickered, casting long, distorted shadows across the wall. Outside, The wind howled through the banyan branches like a wounded voice. Nam took a slow step forward. His voice dropped, almost a whisper. "Lin, you're digging your own grave." Her breath caught. "What are you talking about?" He didn't answer, just stared out the window. Then lightning flashed, and for an instant, Lin saw a woman standing under the banyan tree, hair soaked, eyes milky white, staring up at them. Lin gasped. Nam's face went white. "She's here again." His voice trembled, half fear, half guilt. "She won't forgive me." Lin, Nok, never left that place. Tears streamed down Lin's face. "What did you do to her, Nam?" He spun around, shouting. "I didn't kill her. I just followed orders. I only signed the damn report." His scream echoed through the room, blending with thunder outside. Lin collapsed to her knees, terrified, heartbroken. The window burst open, wind howled inside, scattering papers. The candle went out, and through the darkness came a voice, a woman's whisper, long and sorrowful. "Nam, give it back?" Nam clutched his ears and screamed. Collapsing, Lin rushed to him, but an icy gust threw her backward. From the corner of the room, a white figure emerged, drenched, hair covering her face, water dripping from her fingertips. Lin froze, breath caught in her throat. The face, blurred, broken, was unmistakable. "Please, stop, Mrs. Hong, Ms. Nok, let me help you." The ghost lifted her head. Her purple lips moved slowly. "Find the ledger beneath the banyan tree?" Then, she vanished. Silence. Nam lay curled on the floor, eyes wide, lips muttering. Don't pull me, please." Lin knelt beside him, trembling. Her hands were ice cold. Outside, lightning flashed again. The courtyard glowed for a split second. The banyan tree shook violently. Leaves falling like rain, as if trying to hide something buried beneath its roots. That night, the rain had stopped. Dark clouds still stretched across the sky, and a faint moonlight glimmered through the mist. The old apartment block lay silent, save for the steady dripping of water from the eaves. Lin put on her raincoat, grabbed a small flashlight, and quietly stepped out of her room. She walked toward the back courtyard, where the banyan trees cast long shadows. The wind rustled through the leaves, whispering like distant voices. Mud squelched beneath her shoes, the smell of damp earth thick in the air. In her trembling hand was the crumpled note Mrs. Hong had left behind, the ledger, under the largest banyan tree. She whispered softly to herself, voice shaking. "I'm here now, Grandma Hong. Ms. Nok, please show me where you hid the ledger." The wind rose, shaking the leaves loose. They fell all around her in a soft shower. In the distance, lightning flashed, illuminating the largest banyan tree, its trunk so wide 2 people couldn't wrap their arms around it, its roots twisting like snakes across the wet ground. Lin approached and knelt beside it, shining her flashlight around the base. The soil had been freshly disturbed, still damp. She dug with her hands, clawing through the mud, her fingernails filled with dirt, cold sweat trickling down her forehead. Then, a faint sound behind her, slow, dragging footsteps, like slippers scraping the ground. She spun around, raising the flashlight. "Who's there?" No answer, only the tree branches swaying. She turned back and kept digging. Her fingers struck something hard. She clawed faster until a corner of a leather cover emerged, soaked, muddy. She pulled it free, trembling, and wiped off the grime. On the cover were faded words, "Expense ledger, Food Tin Factory, 1997. Then a hoarse voice spoke from behind her. "Give it to me." Lin froze. She turned around. Nam stood there, face pale, eyes sunken, soaked from head to toe. He stepped forward, voice cracking. "Give it to me. Lin, you don't understand. If this gets out, not just me, others will die too." She stepped back, voice breaking. "You've hidden it for years. People died because of that book. How much longer do you want to keep the lie?" Nam shouted, voice raw. "I didn't mean for any of it to happen. I just followed orders. I was scared. I've regretted it every single day, but I didn't have the courage to face it." The wind howled, tearing through the banyan leaves. From the darkness came a woman's laugh, high, echoing, and cold. Ms. Nock appeared slowly behind Nam, hair dripping, eyes milky white. Her wet hand settled on his shoulder. Her voice whispered through the wind. "Regret comes too late, give it back?" Nam screamed, falling to his knees. "Forgive me, please, I didn't mean to kill you. They made me sign it. They said if I didn't, I'd be fired. I just signed the report. That's all." Lynn burst into tears, her voice trembling. "Ms. Nock, please forgive him. I'll bring the truth to light. I promise, I'll get justice for you." The spirit turned toward Lynn. Her eyes were sorrowful now. Gentler. The wind eased. A fine drizzle began to fall. Ms. Nock's fading voice drifted through the mist. "If you keep your promise, I'll go." Her form dissolved into the night, leaving only the scent of wet banyan leaves. Nam collapsed, gasping. Lynn clutched the ledger to her chest, tears mixing with the rain. The next morning, Lynn brought the ledger to the local police. Inside, every page listed falsified expenses, the names of those involved, and at the bottom, the final signature, Nam. She sat quietly, staring at the shaky handwriting, her heart heavy. When she left the station, the sky had cleared. Sunlight glimmered on the banyan leaves, still wet with dew. The breeze carried the soft scent of earth, clean, bittersweet. She stood for a long moment, gazing toward the courtyard where Mrs. Hong's shadow once appeared each night. "Grandma Hong, Ms. Nock, you can rest now. I did it." A light gust brushed past her, gentle as a hand on her hair. Leaves spiraled down, circling her feet. Lynn smiled faintly, eyes glistening. That evening, back in her room, she lit an incense stick. The air was calm, no footsteps, no chill, only the faint scent of sandalwood drifting through the air. She sat by the window, looking out. Moonlight poured over the banyan tree, its long shadow swaying softly across the courtyard. After a while, through the mist, she saw two figures standing together beneath the tree, Mrs. Hong and Ms. Nock. They smiled, nodding gently at her. Lynn clasped her hands and whispered, "Go in peace." The two figures slowly faded into the silver light. The wind fell still. The courtyard was silent again. The next morning, neighbors saw Lynn leaving the apartment building. She had requested a transfer to teach at a small rural school. Her ground floor room was locked, the curtains drawn. Only the old banyan tree remained, tall, green, whispering softly in the breeze. And on quiet nights, those passing by swore they could still hear a woman's faint laugh, or a whisper beneath the branches. It's peaceful, here now. And so, the story of the shadow beneath the banyan tree comes to an end. A haunting journey, where darkness, whispers, and lost souls linger beneath the old banyan tree in that forgotten apartment courtyard. Lynn, the young teacher, finally helped two tormented spirits find peace. But you know, some grudges, some memories of the past, never truly fade. All it takes is a soft night breeze, or the rustle of banyan leaves, and a chill creeps down your spine. Who knows, maybe they're still standing there, smiling, watching us. Thank you for listening until the very end. If you found this story chilling, meaningful, or thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Shadows in the Night to never miss more ghost tales, spiritual mysteries, and eerie stories that will send shivers down your spine. See you again on another night, when the wind begins to whisper and the darkness starts to speak. Disclaimer: the content in this video belongs to the fictional horror genre, created solely for entertainment purposes, to bring you a thrilling and immersive experience. We do not promote superstition or encourage any dangerous actions mentioned in the story. Any resemblance to actual people, places, or events is purely coincidental. Thank you sincerely for supporting the channel, Shadows in the Night.